Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. And today on the show, I am doing a bit of a Severin Films extravaganza. I've got a couple box sets to talk about and a 4K release as well. Severin is always cranking on good stuff. They're one of my favorite labels, and I got to give them credit because they, especially in this first box set I'm going to talk about, have a tendency to really dig up some obscure stuff that in often instances I've never even heard of. And that would definitely be the case for this new box set, which is called DANZA MACABRA Vol.1, the Italian Gothic Collection. Now, this may be too heavy for my stand, I think, but it is a wonderful box set, and I love the way that Severin puts together their box sets. I've said this before, they always do a great job. No expenses spared. This is one of those lovely box sets that has the sturdy cardboard construction, matte finish, and contains all 4 discs in separate Blu-ray cases, which I love. And it is really something special, this whole set. So I'm going to go through these one at a time. And I haven't had a chance to really dig into this set, but I can tell you what these films are and what features they have, and they really did a nice job with this set in terms of the features. No surprise, Severin really puts a premium on including lots of special features with their sets. So let's start with Monster at the Opera. This is from 1964. These will go in chronological order, I think, actually. And this one is conceived as a sequel to their landmark, The Vampire and the Ballerina. Director Renato Polselli, the reincarnation of Isabel and Delirium, and screenwriter Ernesto Gastaldi, All the Colors of the Dark, resurrected their gothic Fiend Stalks, a theatrical troupe framework for over-the-top aria of reincarnated lovers, sheer nightgowns, sapphic hunger, interdimensional damnation, and frenzied opera that looks like the fever dream of an oversexed choreographer. And Marco Mariani and Milena Vukotic star in this surreal and still potentially erotic shocker. So that's this film. And these transfers all look good. They are all scanned at least in 2K from the negative, but I'll go through each thing individually. This one is scanned in 2K from the original negative. It is a black and white film in Italian with optional English subtitles. It runs 84 minutes, and it is a Region A locked disc. Now, not all these are Region A locked, so I'll make sure to point out the 2 discs that are all region in this set, so you can get a sense if you are outside the United States and looking at this set, which ones you would need a multi-region player for. But so this includes a commentary by Kat Ellinger, author of Daughters of Darkness, right at the top. And then we have Terror at the Opera, interview with screenwriter Ernesto Gastaldi, and this is in Italian with English subtitles. It runs about 30 minutes, and he's speaking about the beginnings of his career as a screenwriter, starting in the late 50s, working up through his career to this film. But a very affable guy, very neat to see him talking about his career. So that's one interview we get on this disc. Next we get Capodimonte Gothic interview with the Italian film devotee Mark Thompson Ashworth. This is 14 minutes, 22 seconds in English, and he talks about director Renato Polselli and his films, and it's a very cool overview of the director who I was unfamiliar with. So a great 14-minute piece on that. And then we actually have a interview with Polselli himself, an archival audio interview that's about 21 and a half minutes. It's in Italian with English subtitles, and it's played as sort of a visual essay almost, because it has stills from films, posters, and other things to watch on screen. So it's not just audio and black. It's got us, something so you can read the subtitles and understand what he's saying. So that's a cool interview to have with the director included. So that is The Monster of the Opera. And then we have next up The Seventh Grave, and this one is from 1965. And this film, for more than 50 years, it has existed only via rumor, reputation, and barely watchable bootlegs. It remains perhaps the strangest Italian Gothic ever made. The sole feature by enigmatic director Garibaldi Sera Caracciolo, here using the anglicized pseudonym Finney Cliff, combines familiar murder mystery elements with the Cat and the Canary, with odd dollops of mad doctors, escaped lepers, giallo-style killings, and one of the most strikingly original seance sequences in the entire genre. Antonio Casali, Ferruccio Viotti, and Gianni Day star in this fascinating rarity. And this one is now scanned in 2K from the recently discovered negative. So that's what the film is. I should mention the status of where these films lie in terms of have Blu-rays been available for. Monster at the Opera is a worldwide Blu-ray premiere, as is The Seventh Grave, also a worldwide Blu-ray premiere. I'll note the next two are not worldwide, but they are the first time for home video for certain territories, so I'll let you know. But okay, so this one's black and white in Italian with English subtitles, 77 minutes. This is an all-region disc, so you can watch it anywhere. And it includes an audio commentary by Rachel Nisbet, film critic and co-host of the Fragments of Fear podcast. She's delightful and always does a lovely job with these commentaries, really specializes in Italian cinema, so she's a perfect fit for this set. Then we have Seven Graves and a Mystery. This is an interview with film historian Fabio Melelli. It is in Italian with English subtitles. It's about 12 minutes and 52 seconds. He talks about the film and its place in the history of Italian cinema. Definitely knows his stuff. Very well done in terms of his preparation. And then we have English Aesthetic with Giallo Blood, a video essay by Gothic scholar and author Rachel Knightley. 14 minutes, 43 seconds. And this is just a great little overview of the film. It's a video essay, but it gives a lot of backstory and context for the movie, which is what I love in a video essay. So that's a really nice feature that's included here on The Seventh Grave. Okay. Next up, we have Scream of the Demon Lover. Now, this one is from 1970. This is a color film. The other two have been black and white. This is the North American Blu-ray debut. This film has been scanned in 4K from the negative for the first time ever. It includes both English and Italian audio options with subtitles for this is the Italian. 98 minutes, it's region A. The previous two, I think I mentioned, are both in Italian. These are both in Italian only. Monster at the Opera and Seventh Grave are Italian only with English subtitles. But this one includes an English track as well for Scream of the Demon Lover. And this one, it says, though he made only 2 horror films, the veteran writer-director Jose Luis Marino, The Hanging Woman, here embraces the genre's classic elements and ravishes them to vivid extremes. When a beautiful biochemist, Erna Schurer of Strip Nude for Your Killer, arrives at Foreboding Castle to work for a sinister baron, she'll unlock a nightmare of dark romance, sexual violence, grisly family secrets, and some of the most perverse moments in 70s Gothic. Carlos Quini and Enzo Fascetta co-star in this Italian-Spanish co-production, also as Killers of the Castle of Blood, and released in the U.S. by New World Pictures, cut by nearly 20 minutes, now scanned in 4K from the negative for the first time ever. Again, this is region A locked, with English and Italian audio options. And we have some features on this one. It has an audio commentary by Rod Barnett, film historian and co-host of the Nashi Cast, and Robert Monell, writer and editor of I'm in a Jess Franco State of Mind. So both those gentlemen on the commentary. Then we have Scream, Erna Scream, an interview with actress Erna Schurer. That's 19 minutes and 18 seconds. Italian It's in Italian with English subtitles. And so we have the actor from the film talking about her memories of it and her career in this interview. And then we have In the Castle of Blood video essay by the great Stephen Thrower, author of books on Jess Franco and Lucio Fulci. One of the great film critic, film historian types you can get for a Blu-ray feature as far as I'm concerned. And one of the other ones will come up in another disc. But Stephen Thrower is one of my favorites. And it opens with a sort of straight interview. It's listed as a video essay, but it opens with a straight sit-down interview with Stephen Thrower, and we sort of keep cutting back to that as he talks about director Jose Luis Moreno amidst video clips from the film, as well as, posters and other things like that. So it feels more like an interview with cutaways than a full-on video essay, but that's totally fine because Thrower is one of the best you can get, like I said. So he goes deep on this film and gives a lot of information about, everyone involved, and it's fantastic. It's almost 40 minutes long, 38:59. So a really great in-depth interview with one of the great film historians, perfect for any disc. So that is one of my favorite features on any of these discs. And then lastly, we have Lady Frankenstein. Now, this is from 1971. This is also a color film and also includes English and Italian audio tracks. It is co-produced by Roger Corman, one of the most underrated horror movies of all time. Features an ultra-lurid direction by American International star Mel Wells from Little Shop of Horrors, from a story by Dick Randall, who wrote Pieces, distinctive cinematography by Riccardo Palatini, Castle of Blood, and a score by Alessandro Alessandroni, The Devil's Nightmare. A cast that includes Hollywood legend Joseph Cotton, he's a big headliner here, alongside Eurocult icons Paul Muller, Herbert Fuchs, and Marino Masse. That's F-U-X, Herbert. Mickey Hargitay, and a titular performance by the remarkable Rosalba Neri, for whom only the monster she could satisfy for her strange desires. Lady Frankenstein is now scanned in 2K from the original negative with over 5.5 hours of special features that includes documentaries, interviews, alternate scenes, and much more. This is a region-free disc, can be played anywhere, and like I said, English and Italian options in terms of audio, and definitely the crown jewel of the set in terms of the film and in terms of, like it says, 5.5 hours. It's got a lot of features here. So this is the first official North American release restored uncut from the negative, is how it's listed. And again, in color, English and Italian audio, 99 minutes, all region. Special features. We have 2 audio commentary tracks here. We have one with Kat Ellinger again, and also included on that track is Annie Rose Malame, film scholar and co-host of the Girls, Guts, and Giallo podcast. Lively conversation, and then an audio commentary by Alan Jones, author of Dario Argento, The Man, the Myths, and the Magic, and Kim Newman, author of Nightmare Movies. Kim Newman, of course, the other guy with Stephen Thrower, is one of my favorite film historians to be included on any Blu-ray for a commentary or an interview. I'm always down, and I always enjoy what he does. This is no exception. It's a great track, and I'm so glad they got these two together to do this track. It's wonderful. So really good stuff there. And then we have more stuff. Meet the Baroness featurette, which is about 21:48. Interview with actress Rosalba Neri, who plays Tanya Frankenstein in the film. This is in Italian with English subtitles, and it's intercut with another interview with film scholar Fabio Melelli, again in Italian with English subtitles. So you've got her recollections of the film and her career, and him talking about the film too. So it's a nice little cutting back and forth between the two interviews. Then we have Piecing Together Lady Frankenstein, which gets a little note at the top, contains spoilers. It's 35 minutes and 18 seconds, featuring interviews with Julian Granger, who's co-author of Murderous Passions and Flowers of Perversion, film scholar type. And then multiple interviews with Mel Wells, the director, who of course passed away in 2005. We have one that appears to be in his home maybe, and then one at a convention. And so they really cut back and forth between Julian Granger and the Mel Wells interview footage So you get a lot of insights into how this film came to be and the production, and just really great. Mel Wells is American, so no subtitles here. You can hear and understand everything he's saying if you are English. The Lady in the Orgy is the next thing we get, a short documentary on Mel Wells, and that's about 8 minutes long, and it's almost a video essay. It's narrated by Bryn Tilley, and just again kind of giving us backstory about the film, and I enjoyed this. The Truth About Lady Frankenstein. This is a 2007 German TV documentary, about 44 minutes long. Some of it in German with English subtitles. They talked to a couple folks they're interviewing. I think one is definitely German, one might be Italian, I'm not sure. But then you have Mel Wells, again, in a different interview, a sit-down interview that is sort of the spine of the piece. And so they keep coming back to him, and him, again, talking about the film. And I can't remember if there was a ton of crossover with the piecing together, but I think there was definitely a little bit. But still really great. Mel Wells is a fascinating interview and fun to watch him talk about the films. Then we have something called Clothes Insert Shots. This is about 3 minutes long, and the little thing they gave at the top was, it is not known whether these alternate clothed takes have ever been seen before. It is possible they might have been used in some early TV broadcasts or have been inserted into some of the theatrical release prints in territories where nudity would be a problem due to censorship restrictions. As far as we are aware, this is the first time they have been seen on any home video format. So then we follow this with a few scenes that in the film, I believe the actors are less clothed, and they're fully clothed in these scenes. So you get to see those takes. Very interesting. And then we have a video short illustrating the BBFC censorship cuts 252. That's a little bit deceptive in that the warning at the top of this one says, apparently when it was submitted to the BBFC in 1971, it received an X certificate for theatrical distribution. However, the following cuts were required for its release. We don't know exactly to what extent these scenes would have been cut, so take a look at the uncensored clips to follow and see if you can work out what would have been removed. And then we see a text description of the scene and the notes from the BBFC as to what should be removed. And then we see the uncensored clip. So you're not actually seeing the cut versions, I don't think, but you are seeing what I think are the actual notes from the BBFC saying this needs to come out and this whatever. So it's kind of cool to see the actual scene as it plays and imagine how it would have been cut. I enjoy the interactivity of that exercise. There's also the Italian opening credits, 2 minutes, 42 seconds, and then Big Film Magazine Lady Frankenstein photo novel, which is like a novelization, but it's kind of like a comic book where they have frames from the movie with little speech bubbles and stuff. And it's about 2 minutes, 40 seconds if you just let it play straight through, but you can pause it on each of the frames, and each one it says, to browse this photo novel, press pause at any time. Each page is chaptered. Pages not relating to the story have been omitted. So you can just look through the photo novel and read it at your leisure as you pause through this little featurette. So yeah, really, really great disc, and easily the best in this set. But exciting that this is volume 1. And that would indicate that there will be a volume 2. And again, Severin really always does a great job. They really think about collectors and what we want and what we enjoy in our sets. And again, they spend money on this stuff, guys. This is really a nice box, and goes well with the Lindsay Baker set or the Adamson set. I mean, I have a ton of these box sets, and Severin again is one of my favorites for doing box sets. So let's talk about one more box set. This is Wings of Disaster, the Birdemic Trilogy. James Wynn's wonderful series of films. In 2010, writer, producer, director, software salesman James Wynn harnessed the powers of action, adventure, and environmental awareness to ask, why did the eagles and the vultures attacked? And Gwynn's groundbreaking Birdemic shock and terror soon became a global phenomenon and launched his career as the master of the romantic thriller. In 2013, Gwynn returned to his biggest budget to date for Birdemic 2, The Resurrection, never before unavailable on Blu-ray and exclusive to this collection. Nearly a decade after its original classic took flight, the auteur, the New York Times hails as a latter-day anti-genius. brought his extraordinary saga full circle with Birdemic 3, Sea Eagle. For the first time ever, Wings of Disaster, the Birdemic Trilogy gathers Gwyn's complete avian epic on 3 discs with 13 plus hours of special features for a cinematic vision that remains unlike any you've ever seen. And I will agree with that 100%. And this is one of those lenticular covers, so you can see the birds flapping. But yeah, each of the discs included here, we have, of course, the original Birdemic Shock and Terror. Now, this Blu-ray seems to be the exact Blu-ray that they put out previous to this, which I had, the 2010 or whatever Blu-ray. But it's a nice disc, and the back says, is a tender love story, a graphic horror shocker, an urgent ecological warning, and around the world, it became the must-see midnight movie sensation of the year. From writer, producer, director, visionary James Wynn, the master of the romantic thriller, comes the story of a sexually lingerie model, Whitney Moore, and a successful software salesman, Alan Bogg, on a weekend getaway to quaint Northern California town. But when the entire region is attacked by millions of homicidal birds, their picturesque paradise becomes a winged hell on earth. Can mankind now survive the avian onslaught of Birdemic? But I was a big fan of this one when it came out. I think it's very amusing. James Wynn has a very specific style in terms of dialogue. It doesn't necessarily sound like real humans speaking, but that's okay. I actually kind of love it in that sense. And the visual effects are pretty low budget, and that will either charm you or put you off, or both. But this disc includes a audio commentary with director James Wynn, audio commentary with stars Alan Bogg and Whitney Moore, deleted scenes, Birdemic Experience Tour featurette, James Wynn on movie close-up, movie had the James Wynn story teaser, and the EPK, etc. So that's the first disc in this set. No reversible artwork. Then we have Birdemic 2, The Resurrection. Again, that's from 2013. 3 years after he unleashed Birdemic Shock and Terror, writer-director James Wynn, the master of the romantic thriller, I love how that's always part of his name, was given the biggest budget of his career, literally went Hollywood for the insane sequel, when an award-winning movie director, Thomas Favaloro, meets a struggling young actress, Chelsea Tumbo. Their budding romance will be disrupted by giant jumbo jellyfish, hostile cavemen, unconscionable dancing, gratuitous nudity, incongruous zombies, endless ammunition, and hordes of prehistoric eagles and vultures that rise from the La Brea tar pits to attack Los Angeles. Alan Baugh, Whitney Moore, Rick Camp, Stephen Gustafson, Patsy Van Edinger, and Damian Carter of the original Birdemic co-star in this staggering depiction of ecological horror and independent filmmaking, filmed on location in Tinseltown and the Universal Studios back lot. A little quote on the back here. It makes Plan 9 from Outer Space look like 2001: A Space Odyssey. My good friend Elric Kane actually has a small part in this movie, which I have seen it. I don't remember it that well. I did enjoy it. Not as much as the first one, but I did enjoy it. But I don't remember Elric in it, so now I have to watch on Blu-ray and pause and find him. This has 4.5 hours of special features, including an audio commentary with director James Wynn, audio commentary with producer Jeff Gross and actors Alan Bogg and Thomas Favaloro, audio commentary with cinematographer Bobby Hacker and actress Whitney Moore. So you got all commentaries. And then you have some cast and crew interviews and a behind-the-scenes featurette type thing as well. So that's Birdemic 2. Now, I haven't had a chance to watch Birdemic 3 yet, but I got to tell you, I'm excited to see it. Birdemic 3, The Sea Eagle, is from 2022, and it's the conclusion of the trilogy from the master of the romantic thriller. With full creative control restored, writer-director James Wynn goes back to basics to complete this immortal action-adventure eco-terror vision, or as the reprobate proclaims, there is so much madness at work here that nothing seems impossible. When global warming triggers climate chaos along the Northern California coast, 2 scientific researchers will discover tender romance, sudden wealth, awkward dancing, appalling CGI, space elevators, automatic weapons, and a plague of sea eagle attacks that could lead to the extinction of life on Earth. Ryan Lord and Julia Colbert star, along with the return of Alan Bogg and the ever-engaging musical stylings of Damian Carter in the film. High Def Digest hails as a 5-star blast. It reiterates how much fun a filmmaker and his actors can have by returning to their home base. Quote, Birdemic 3 is a force to be reckoned with. Wynn does not skimp on what made the original so wonderful. And while I'm thinking about James Wynn, there's a great podcast called One Effing Hour. It's explicit in its actual title. But if you look it up, they have a great conversation with James Wynn about The Birds. He talks for an hour with them about the Hitchcock film The Birds, and I think it's very entertaining and interesting to hear him talk about that film and its influence on him. So go check that out as well. But this includes an introduction by director James Wynn, audio commentary by him, audio commentary with cast members Ryan Lord, Julia Colbert, and Alan Bogg, audio commentary with Birdemic 2 The Resurrection background actor, 4-time Jeopardy champion Andy Wood, and his neighbor Tony, as well as festival highlights. So some nice features on this one. These are, let's see here, are they all region? 2 and 3 are definitely all region, and I can't tell if 1 is also all region. But Birdemic 2 and 3 definitely all region on Blu-ray. So that is the Birdemic Trilogy from Severin. A little less on the box set. This is a sturdy cardboard, but not quite on the level of the other releases. But as a result, you can see this is actually not that expensive a set. I want to say it's in the $30 to $35 range or something like that. Definitely less than $40 for 3 films with tons of extras and a lot of entertainment. These films are incredibly entertaining, so I do recommend them. Okay, and then last but not least, we have a 4K release. This is a film by Peter Greenaway. This is Drowning by Numbers from 1988. And this film, in between his celebrated The Belly of an Architect and The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, writer-director Peter Greenaway, one of the most distinctive, provocative talents of his generation, shocked/delighted international audiences with the slyly deranged black comedy classic Oscar nominee Dame Joan Plowright, 4-time BAFTA Award nominee Juliet Stevenson, and 2-time Golden Globe nominee Jolie Richardson star as 3 generations of women who murder their husbands in an unsettling salvo of sumptuous visuals, macabre capers, and numerical mischief. Bernard Hill co-stars in this fascinating brainbuster of very bad manners, now featuring a new 4K scan of the original negative, personally supervised by Peter Greenaway. So Greenaway, if you don't know him, he's a very artsy filmmaker. His films, Draftsman's Contract, Zed and Two Knots, they are the artiest of the art house kind of stuff. They are, some would say pretentious, but I think just really great examples of art house filmmaking. He's truly one of the giants in that particular area. So this disc is pretty cool because it's going to look great. And, of course, it's all region. This includes a Blu-ray, an all-region Blu-ray as well as the 4K. And it has an audio commentary with Greenaway, which I'm very much looking forward to checking out. And then that's on the Blu-ray and the 4K, I think, or definitely on the 4K. The Blu-ray includes Painting by Numbers, another interview with Greenaway, and 3 Women and a Coroner, an interview with actor Bernard Hill, as well as a Fear of Drowning archival featurette, and some Greenaway game concepts as well. So this is exciting. I do hope that we'll see some more Greenaway films, especially 4Ks, from Peter Greenaway and Severin Films. I hope this is an alliance that will continue. Like I said, he's done some very interesting movies. Draftsman's Contract is one I remember seeing a lot. Not a lot, but seeing around my work a lot, and I watched it and enjoyed it, and maybe my favorite of his films, but I really need to come back to him. It's been a long time since I've dug in, and I can't remember what I thought of this film. So excited to dig in and check it out on 4K. Very exciting stuff, and that will do it for my Severin Films Extravaganza. Hope you enjoyed this. They are always doing good stuff. Check them out at severinfilms.com. Follow them on socials for announcements, and check out their podcast, which is wonderful and comes out every time they release a new slate of films. They come on and discuss them in depth, and that, I think, is a great tool for not only listening to a great podcast about film, but just getting an idea of what they're doing and why they picked the films they picked. And David Gregory is included in that conversation, and it's always wonderful to hear from him as he does great work over at Severin Films. Anyway, that will do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.